What is up, everyone? So you guys have been following the build series so far with our 2JZ swapped FRS. We got the car, it was a mystery. Had all these old crusty parts on it. We put all these brand new fancy bits on it. Engine package that I'm super excited to see how it delivers, right? We got a lot of good parts on here and it's come together beautifully. We got so much done in the last video. We got the fuel system done, we got the cooling system done, we got the full exhaust done, which means we're so close to getting this thing started. But we still need a couple major components and, well, we got them. So we're gonna get to work. We got my two favorite boxes right here. One, because this usually means we're ready to start a car when this stuff goes on. And two, this is the components that we can always count on for every car. We have ourselves a Link standalone ECU. We went with a Fury, top of the line ECU, internal wideband, e-throttle control, all the motorsport functions. You can't beat it. We have this in like everything. On top of that, wiring specialties. They are the king of swap harnesses, right? They make so many different harnesses to adapt engines that didn't belong in cars to now put them in cars they never came with flawlessly. It's crazy that they actually make this, but this is a 2JZ Ford FRS BRZ chassis swap harness. This is going to plug on our 2JZ and then plug into our FRS, and we're gonna have seamless interaction between the two. This is a 2013. This car is 20 years newer than this engine. And not only that, with it being a 2013, there's a lot more electronics to it, which makes things more difficult than just running some bare wires. And well, the boys got this whole thing figured out, so honestly, I couldn't be more grateful, because this is really taking a massive headache out of the project. It looks a little overwhelming, I know, but these things always fall into place. You just gotta start plugging stuff in. Couple things to talk about the harness, but the first thing I have to say is every time we do a video integration with them, I always beg them to give me a discount code so I can help share the discount with you guys, because they never do discounts. So if you use discount code JimmyFRS, we'll put it right here, you'll get 10% off basically their whole website, which is huge. And those discounts add up, and I can imagine at this point in the winter, you're getting hopefully finished up with your project, right, Carter?
Yeah.
The spring comes fast, dude. Like every year, like February is here and you're just like, we got all the time in the world. And then March comes, you're like, oh man. And then April, people on the track and you're like, damn it, I need to get my car together. So it's good times.
Whoa.
See, here comes the pleading. Here comes the pleading. What's also nice too is if you have certain components on the engine that you want to use, they'll configure the harness for it, right? So we're gonna be running R35 coils, we're gonna be running Link sensors, we're gonna be running an e-throttle, all stuff that obviously isn't factory 2J, but when I order the harness, they take note of it and they pin it all in, so it should be a seamless process of getting this thing into the chassis. When you get it, they give you your little I/O sheet that says everything in the harness, and you set your ECU up. It is easy dandy. It seems overwhelming at first, but dude, you start plugging this stuff in, and before you know it, it's all in the car. It's all labeled. Like, I give you the spiel every time because it's so good. Like, look at wideband sensor, boom, plugged it in. Flexial sensor, boom, plug it in. So our first hurdle, did I mention we're gonna run, this thing's gonna start this video? We're putting good juju out there right now.
Fingers crossed.
We got all the right components. So, first hurdle is getting this thing ran through the firewall. So we have our chassis functions here, our engine here, so we're trying to use the factory hole right here. So got the seal, I'm trying to yam this in here. It's not easy, but we will get it in there. A little bit of patience, a lot of swears, and a good time with the homies. It's a small hole. We get them all? We get them all? Oh, there's one little thing right there. The factory engine harness actually goes through the chassis harness. So there's no hole for an engine harness because it's the chassis harness, right? It's a little tight. There we go. Oh, hell yeah. So we're gonna worry about the chassis side after. We're gonna start with the engine side, and we gotta figure out our most optimal way for routing this harness, because it can go a bunch of different ways, right? So usually what I like to say is I start plugging stuff in, and as you do that, you'll see which ways would want to run better and just unplug them and move them around. It's very tedious, but it's not hard. Don't get overwhelmed. Just literally start plugging stuff in and it'll all make sense as it starts to lay out. plugged in that needs to be plugged in. We're just waiting for the coil kit to come in. Hopefully that shows up today. And as you can tell, once it's in, it doesn't look so bad, right?
No, it actually looks pretty good because we routed it underneath the intake.
Yeah, it worked really good. I mean, we tried a couple different routes and we found what worked best by, you know, trying everything out, unplugged a few things, plugged them back in, and look at this. The whole thing's in there, way less overwhelming now. You read the plug, you plug it in, and you move on, right? The engine side's done, like that's it, easy. You can't beat that. That took us 25 minutes. We're definitely gonna have to do some heat management over here because the downpipe is so close to the wiring, which is fine. It's just a factory, it's just our chassis limitation there, but that's easy. We got plenty of stuff for that. So now it's time to deal with the chassis connection part of the harness. All right, it looks a little chaotic in there right now, but we still gotta tie everything up and plug everything in. So on the engine harness side, we have the plugs for the Link Fury, right? We have this thing pinned for Link Fury ECU. They'll pin it to any ECU you want, but why would you do that anything other than the Link Fury?
Hop below,
shop your meal for all your Link products. This will plug right into the Link Fury. And then we have our little box right here, which connects our harness to our FRS chassis, and this plugs basically into where the old ECU went. One of the weird things with the FRS is they're CAN integrated, right? The chassis uses CAN bus to communicate between the ECU and functions on the car. What is CAN bus? You know what CAN bus is?
I was gonna say, nah, you're gonna have to cut that clip.
Let's try to dump down CAN bus a little bit. So CAN bus is basically another communication form between, we'll say, electronics, right? It's a type of electrical language, we'll call it that, right? Every single CAN function has its own language. So the FRS and all of its CAN functions have its own language. You need something to decipher that language. Link actually makes a plug and play for the FRS, for the factory harness, for the factory engine, and the Link has all the language already in the firmware so it can communicate with the factory chassis. It's mint, right? With the Fury, we don't have to deal with that because Wiring Specialties actually has their own box that deciphers the CAN signals or the language from the FRS and deciphers it into something simple for the ECU to read. So the main plug's plugged in. We also have a couple plugs on here for extra IOs that are in the ECU that we're not utilizing. So if we ever want to add them later on, we have access to, which is really nice. It's very simple. We grab our Link ECU, break the seal. I already took it apart, that's why it looks so messy. Don't judge the box. Fresh Link ECU, the Link Fury. Beautiful piece, we love to see it. Little mounting bracket too, so we have cable management to do, don't you worry. Usually I like to kind of make sure everything works before you tie it all up because nothing's worse than having to rip all your nice cable management down just because you have an issue with one plug. Boom. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that easy, that easy. Let's get on the lift. We gotta finish hooking a couple things on the harness underneath. We gotta get a battery in it. We gotta drain the fuel, set the ECU up, set up the base map because it's gonna take a little bit because there's a lot of things on here, and hopefully, we still need our coil kit too, which should be in any minute now. I have the feed off and we're gonna put it right into the bucket and we are gonna use the fuel pumps manually to drain the tank for what's in there. The gas in there has been in there for like 5 years. Not good.
Good enough for the pressure washer.
Good enough for the pressure washer, hell yeah. You ready? Is it coming?
Oh yeah. Got a little drizzle. This is like a peepaw in the bathroom, you know what I'm saying? just spraying and squirting. He's 92, but he's still living.
Hey, a little bit.
Just enough gas to get me home.
Don't worry, he's not gonna be a common character.
Hey, that's fucking disrespectful, bro.
Perfect time. Literally as soon as the car came down the lift, we got our package. We got our coil kit right here, boys. So excited. Straight from the hills of Australia. Alright, so we got some goodies in here because we don't only have stuff for the FRS, we actually have parts for the 34 also. We have our PRP care package here. So we have Platinum Racing products. You guys know them. They make some of the highest end components for a lot of these import cars. An R35 coil pack kit for the 2J. And then we have an R35 coil pack kit for the RB. And of course, we also have a trigger kit for the RB since we definitely need a trigger kit on that car. So we'll be installing this stuff later on. We'll show you guys exactly what we're doing with that on the RB. But for now we're gonna work on the 2J. So let's get our coil pack kit set up and unboxed and we'll be ready to go. So these are R35 GTR coils. Factory JZ coils are just a little old, outdated. This gives us a new modern smart coil and probably one of the best smart coils you can get on the market. the R35 GTR coil. We have our billet bracket right here, which is honestly a really freaking cool piece.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's half the battle, isn't it?
Does it look cool?
Does it look cool? Okay, good. Yeah. So we have our bracket, which should go something like, there we go. Sits just how it fits in there, so nice. And then we have our coil, but we can't use the factory stock, right? Because it makes it sit way too high. One of the best parts about their coil pack kits is they sit really low, unlike a lot of smart coils out there, which allows you to run factory covers. The JZ, not as big of a deal, but on the RB, especially the RB26, if you can't run your coil pack cover, it kind of defeats the whole look of the engine. Like it kills it, like all the RBs. Like this makes the RB look presentable. So getting their coil pack kit on here not only gives you great performance benefits, but also honestly, in terms of looks, you want that cover on there. So you pull the factory stock off right here. There's a resistor in here. Do not lose this thing. It's super easy to lose. Like that. Don't lose that. So there's a little resistor in here that the coil needs. So do not lose that. Besides that, the factory spring and the factory stock, goodbye. So then we get the PRP one. Already has a spring in there. Put the resistor back in. And then, boom. Perfect. Now it's the perfect length to actually bolt this thing in. So these things will just go just like this. Look at it, fits nice under the cover. And honestly, I've had a lot of JZ smart coil conversion kits because there's a lot out there. I've tried many different coils, and one of the most annoying things ever is when you have to change your plugs, you usually have to pull the whole bracket out with all the pieces. You're fumbling hardware, it's through bolts. It sucks, it's such a pain in the ass. With this, you could just remove one of your coils and remove your plug like a normal coil pack. But that's huge in itself. Doing the plugs on the coupe with the LS coil, no thank you.
Nightmare.
Turn the boost up. This looks so good. Such all good modern tech on this thing. The PRP does sell harnesses for it. So something like this, I'll plug into a factory connector like the RB. But for the JZ, he just had it pinned to like a regular Deutsch connector, so you could pin this into your harness. But thanks to Wallingford Specialties, they already had this pinned in the harness for us, so it's super easy. It's already here. We don't have to do anything. Just plug it in. And we have an R35 smart coil. So good. Nothing beats when you have a product that not only has amazing form, but incredible function too at the same time. Can't beat it. And of course, if you guys want to grab any PRP goodies for yourself, Drift HQ always has them in stock, so check them out, see what they got for you. They make all components for all the best engines, like JZ, SR. They make a lot of stuff for the RB. It's a good engine. The engine looks sick, so I figured it'd be a shame to cover it, but I want to cover it so it's sealed up. So I got this piece, and I need you guys' help right now. Is it corny or is it horny? Clear cover.
I don't hate it. Honestly, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would.
Look at that nice cover like that there. It looks, this whole thing just looks fast.
I don't hate it.
It'd be a shame to cover that all up.
I'm a fan.
Horny?
I'm a fan. We'll go horny.
Go horny, yeah. What do you think?
We were talking about cutting it.
Yeah, okay, so here's a big thing, and this will probably,
I think that'll make it look worse.
I've seen a lot of people do this, and it actually looks pretty cool, is they'll cut them like right here
Right
on
on
this
that line.
and then they'll run a factory one here, right? And then it makes the center not look so busy, right? It makes it one piece, and then you get to see your fancy cam gears and stuff like that. I mean, it's a non-VTI. The cool part about them is this look, so I wouldn't mind cutting and then doing like a black OEM one.
You just mask this off and just trim black the top.
Because it doesn't say Toyota on it.
See, now you're asking for a lot. So you're gonna cut up two covers.
Before cutting it, we could try and trim black it.
That's not a bad idea. Just like black half of it. Because it would just make the engine look less busy.
I would stand that up.
Yeah, see now you're
Now you're thinking about too much.
Now you're doing too much. I'm gonna leave this on for now, let it sink in, just because I want to seal this up because I don't want to drop anything in the timing components. Let me know what you guys think. Corny or horny? Fresh 93 pump gas in this thing. You know what time it is. One last thing before we have to start this thing is I had to wire in the fuel pumps because like we talked about before, the factory wiring just isn't enough for the aftermarket pumps. If you want to get the full performance out of them, especially since we put 2 crazy pumps in this thing, had to wire them in, so I just ran this right now. And now, the last thing we got to show off is, we talked about the engine cover. We couldn't decide if it was corny or horny, so spoon did this thing, painted it up, and I think this is it. I mean, we did it already, but
Yeah, that's the move.
that's good,
That's
right?
the move.
That's so good. Just enough to show off the cam gears, keep it sealed up, and then it shows off like I know this is like not a Toyota piece, but they mimicked a Toyota design, and dude, they did such a nice job with this design. Like, engines are so ugly these days, and I get it. Like, they're not caring about looks, they're just caring about efficiencies, but like, this is a pretty cover.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
Like, this thing looks so fast, like. All right, let's plug the ECU in and get this thing started up. We just opened up the ECU for the first time, so it's a standalone, right? So pretty much blank. We have to set everything up. It has the trigger settings for a JZ already in here. It has all the link sensors, all common sensors. And all we have to do now is go down our wiring specialties list and see where everything is wired and define them in the ECU. Like, define where the map sensor is, define where the boost controller is, define where the TPS is. A little tedious, but you just go down the list, you fill it out, and then the ECU knows where to communicate to each piece and how to decipher it, and we go from there. Sound good? Give me like 15 minutes. Went through, made sure everything's good. I want to start this thing up and I want it to work like right away, so I took my time this time. But instead of just throwing numbers at it, because we're 5 hours behind schedule. So e-throttle's working. That's a big one. That's good. It's quick, right? Mm-hmm. No delay. So one thing before, the last thing we have to do is shoot base timing, so the ignition timing is in sync with what's actually happening and with the ECU. But before that, good practice is we should test the coil outputs and the injector outputs to make sure that's all in correct order. Because if you remember last time, that was our biggest issue. Coils, injectors, they weren't firing, or they were firing in the wrong order and all this stuff. I have very good confidence we'll be fine here, but it's always good practice to test. We're gonna start with the injector spoon, and we're gonna test injector 1.
Yep.
Yeah, injectors are loud. 2. And then 6. Yep. Perfect. All the injectors are firing, and they're firing in order. So let's do coils. They're a little bit harder to hear, but you'll be able to hear it. 1. Yep. Timing light's flashing, right? Yep. 2. Can you get your ear in there? Yep. All right, now let's get that timing light and sync up base timing.
What'd you find?
This guy's got the Final Fantasy original soundtrack disc in here, guys.
Out of all the CDs that have in here, dude.
You know this, dude?
No way. We're 1 ground away and we can try and crank this thing. All right, Sumo, first test. Crank it. Does the key work this time? Oh, thank God. All right, Spoon. Crank it until Spoon yells at us.
Yep.
Is that 5?
You're 5, yeah.
That's it? Oh, that's enough to start it. Let me try to get a little bit closer. Right on the money? Cool. Heck yeah. This thing should start first try. Unless I forgot something. I'm always forgetting stuff. I'm always in a rush. I'm too excited. I heard this engine run before, but we never heard it with all the new fancy, like full exhaust. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. All right. Yeah, try and start it.
Started first try.
Started first. Oh, I said it. I said it. How's it sound?
It sounds great.
It's good. That, like, knit, right? I told you. That wasn't edit. I told you it was gonna start first try. It's quiet. Here, Simo, kill it for me real quick. It's quiet. Well, we knew it would be quiet with this exhaust. The transmission is
Even with the valve train.
clunking and clankling. Clunking and clanking. That's stupid. What did I say? Things, it's making noise. I didn't put coolant in yet because I wanted to make sure it ran good before we filled the thing up with water. So let's get coolant so we can actually get this thing up to operating temp and like actually have the thing running. You know what I mean?
Okay, so we can bleed the system and then actually rev it?
I was gonna say, then like a
Okay.
bang limiter.
Drink up. Look at that no funnel gang. Look at them.
I'm trying to figure out what I forgot to hook up.
Weren't even born when no funnel gang was invented. I was one of the first Jimmy Oak subscribers ever. I was watching him when he had the Red Sea LS swapped in his mom's garage.
It's not a funnel, it's a bleeder. There's a difference.
Funnels. Down the hatch.
Just go like this if I need the, yeah, you know the deal. sounds good. Everything's happy. Everything's happy here. We got a little chatter from the transmission. We don't know if it's the clutch kit. Probably the clutch kit. It's a brand new transmission. I doubt the transmission's got fluid in it, but it's warm enough that we can start revving it a little bit. And I get a couple partial throttles, and I can already hear that turbo singing. So let's find out.
It's so loud.
I can hear the turbo over the exhaust.
Dude, it's like its own noise. Like, that's sick. Like, it doesn't sound like.
That's crazy.
Piping is connected, but change when the piping's connected.
Keep it up, yeah. It'll change a little bit when the piping's hooked up, but that's sick, dude. Come on, like, what's the point of having a turbo car if you can't hear the turbo? You know what I'm saying?
It's so quiet. It's too quiet.
That's sad.
I love it. I love quiet cars. Let the turbo sing, man.
All you hear is turbo.
I'm not mad about that.
Disappointing.
Is this important?
Disappointing.
I love that. I enjoy cars so much more when they're quieter. Sounds great. Like, everything sounds good. There's no smoke, right?
No.
That means we did the valve seals correctly, which is nice.
Yeah.
A JZ that doesn't smoke means we got new valve seals in it. Yeah, everything sounds great. Like, engine sounds happy. We did a bunch of stuff to it. Trans, either I'm getting used to this clunky noise or it's going away. We'll read that later on. The throttle response is so good. I'm trying to make some noise for Spoon to make him happy.
Yeah, somewhere. Closer. Oh, better. What's this, the first day of high school?
That was the 8K on that one, bro.
I feel like you can do better. Just trying to work them up. Hey, there you go. I knew you had it in you. Yeah, that's sick.
We have neighbors.
I love it because it's so like.
See, I knew you had it in you.
They probably think I'm so awful because every time we start a fresh engine, I'm like.
Let it break now.
Bro, it's broken in it. This motor's probably got 100K on it. It's broken in, all right? It's a JZ, you gotta do it. Oh! Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. Everyone hates the guy that's usually doing that, but when you're doing it, it's so much
It's so
fun.
sick.
It's sick when the car is sick. That's perfect. That's it. That's
Full exhaust with the move.
the flames out both. That's it. I'm gonna save that real quick. Put that on a switch. It ran, it sounded amazing. It literally started right up just like we predicted. All new everything. Like, we basically just did an entire engine swap. The only thing we didn't do was
The mounts.
the mounts, but we even loosened repositioned the mounts. So, the only thing we didn't do was bolt the clutch on and the trans on. It's, like, that's really, like, we had the drive shaft out. You know what I mean? Like, and that is also giving us issues. I'm so happy. Like, at this point, we have some tidying up to do. We got to finish up the intercooler piping. You can tell we even cut off that cold side of the turbo to weld the new 90 on it. We didn't have enough time.
It'll be done tomorrow.
It'll be done tomorrow. So, intercooler piping, and I gotta finish the plumbing for the wastegate, do some dialing in, and we can send it right on the dyno.
So we should be able to dyno this thing soon?
I'm hoping. You know, there's still a lot of stuff that can go wrong from now to the dyno, but I'm gonna have high hopes. We've been doing good so far. You know,
Using your dyno?
I'm trying to. So
That's the word on the street.
that's what we're trying to do. We got it unburied tomorrow. We're gonna get in there and recalibrate everything, get it all set up, and hopefully we can dyno this thing on that dyno on Friday.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. You guys have never seen a car on the dyno in this shop before, which is crazy.
I have.
You have?
I've been here, bro.
I haven't.
You have it. That's what it is.
You haven't, Austin?
No.
Hasn't been up and running since?
Isn't that crazy?
It's over a year.
That's wild. Busy year. Big wins. Very happy. Car looks sick. Car sounds great. What can you ask? You know, for more love. I'm losing my brain. But for now, you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. And Spoon.
Have a great night.
Because I